Hello, and welcome to Liberty Audiobook. I am your narrator, and this is Destroy the Old You, Rebuild from Zero. There comes a profound moment in every human life when staying the same becomes an unbearable pain. A moment when the person you have been, a habit you have lived by, the very identity you have repeated for years, can no longer carry you into the future you so deeply desire. If you are listening to these words right now, you already feel it. Something inside you is breaking open, something old is dying, and something powerful, something extraordinary, is desperately trying to be born. No one truly talks about this part of the journey, the part where transformation feels less like evolution and more like outright destruction, where the life you have outgrown begins to crumble around you, where the patterns that once offered a perverse sense of protection now suffocate you, where the version of you that bravely survived the past is no longer the version that can build your magnificent future. You cannot rebuild your life, your purpose, your freedom, while clinging to an identity that is slowly, quietly, but inevitably killing your true potential. The old you must die first, not gently, not slowly, not partially, completely, so that something new, something stronger, something undeniably extraordinary can rise in its place. This audiobook is not entertainment. It is not a burst of fleeting motivation that will leave you stranded when the feeling fades. This is a demolition, a systematic dismantling of everything that has kept you small, stuck, and silent. Together, we will bravely confront the illusions that have shaped your past. We will cut the emotional, mental, and practical chains you have carried for far too long. And then, brick by intentional brick, we will build a new self from the ground up, a self forged with discipline, crystal clear clarity, unwavering strength, and undeniable purpose. This will not be easy work. Transformation, real transformation, never is, but it is sacred work. It is the work of rebirth, the work of becoming who you were always meant to be. So take a deep breath, settle into this stillness, let the noise of the world outside fade for a moment, and prepare yourself, because the journey of a lifetime begins now. This is the moment you destroy the old you and rise from zero. Chapter 1. Look yourself in the eye. The brutal truth: transformation never truly begins with inspiration. It begins honesty. The kind of honesty that stings, that shakes you to your core, that forces you to confront the version of yourself you have been artfully avoiding for years. Most people spend their entire lives running from their own reflection, not the reflection in the mirror that shows your physical form, but the reflection inside. The quiet, inescapable reflection that reveals repeated failures, broken promises, untapped potential, and excuses dressed up as perfectly logical reasons. Facing yourself is painful because it demands you knowledge of truth most people never want to admit. The life you have right now is the life your old self painstakingly created. And the life you deeply want, the life of liberty and fulfillment, cannot, under any circumstances, be built by that same self. This is not judgment. It is simply a statement of cause and effect. This is where your rebirth begins, not with ambitious goals, not with a sudden surge of motivation, but with quiet, private confrontation. A confrontation between who you are right now and who you know deep in your soul you could be. Take a moment and breathe. Let your mind settle. Let the incessant chatter and external noise fade. Now softly, but with unblinking resolve, ask yourself these questions. Where have I been hiding? Where have I been lying to myself, even just a little? What patterns have I repeated, even though they consistently destroy me? What stories have I been using to justify staying small, stuck, or comfortable? These questions are uncomfortable. They are designed to be. But discomfort, my friend, is not a wall. It is the doorway to awakening. The truth is this: the old you did not fail because you were inherently weak. The old you failed because you were asleep, trapped inside habits, beliefs, and fears that kept you locked in a version of life far below your true potential. Think about it. How many times did you say you would change, but did not? How many dreams did you bury under layers of procrastination and self-doubt? How many opportunities, grand or small, slipped through your fingers because you were not ready, were not disciplined, were not honest enough to admit you desperately needed to evolve? This is not a space for self-condemnation. This is a space for clarity. Clarity, true clarity, is liberation, because once you truly see the truth, you can no longer pretend you do not. Once you know, you are accountable. Here is something most people never truly understand. You cannot upgrade your life while simultaneously letting the old you stay alive. One version of you must die for another to rise. Death, in this profound context, is not destruction in the negative sense. It is transformation. It is the conscious, deliberate shedding of everything that no longer serves your magnificent future. The old you was built from a mosaic of survival instincts, ingrained fears, echoes of old environments, and the voices of others. It was shaped by choices made when you did not know any better, by pain you never fully healed, by beliefs you never truly questioned, but simply absorbed. But now, you know better. You have reached a pivotal point in your life where staying the same hurts far more than the temporary discomfort of changing. Your spirit is restless. Your potential is knocking louder than ever before, refusing to let you fall back into complacency and forget who you could become. Right now, you are standing in a sacred space, a moment of awakening where you can see yourself clearly, perhaps for the very first time. Honor this moment. It is rare. It is powerful. It is the undeniable birthplace of genuine transformation, but clarity without action is just another, more subtle form of illusion. You cannot simply acknowledge the truth and expect change. You must decide what to do with it. Will you keep carrying the version of yourself that sabotaged your dreams, the version that settled, that avoided discomfort, that broke promises, that apologized for its very existence, the version that hid its power because it was terrified of what might happen if it finally stepped into its authentic self? Or will you allow that version to finally, mercifully, die? Ask yourself this, with the purest honesty you can muster. What part of me must die so the real me can truly live? Maybe it is your ingrained laziness, a comfortable cloak you have worn too long. Maybe it is your paralyzing fear of judgment. Maybe it is your toxic comfort zone, that familiar prison you have mistaken for safety. Perhaps it is the identity you inherited from your past, not chosen, but absorbed. Maybe it is the insidious voice in your head that whispers for you to shrink, to doubt, to settle, to avoid. Whatever it is, it cannot go with you into the next extraordinary chapter of your life. Every true transformation has a cost. The cost is always the old self. There is no glorious rebirth without a quiet burial. And yes, this will feel painful because you are not just letting go of habits, you are letting go of identities. You are letting go of who you thought you were. You are letting go of the false safety of familiarity, even if that familiarity has been slowly destroying you. Change requires a form of grief. But once you bravely move through that grief, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to feel light, clear, focused, awake. you begin to feel a quiet, steady power you have not felt in years, maybe ever. A powerful knowing, a knowing that you are capable of more, a knowing that you are meant for more, a knowing that the life you desire is not impossible, it is simply incompatible with the old you. So let this first chapter end, not with a loud declaration, but with a quiet, powerful, internal declaration that reshapes your identity. I am done being who I used to be. I choose to see myself clearly, and I am ready to change. Say it in your mind. Say it without fear. Say it from the core of your chest. Let it echo inside you. This is the moment the old you truly begins to crumble, and that, my friend, is exactly what you want, because from this necessary destruction, the new you will gloriously rise. Chapter 2. Lay down what you have been carrying, breaking free from the past. Before you can rebuild anything enduring in your life, you must first release what has been relentlessly weighing you down. No matter how strong your vision becomes, no matter how disciplined your habits grow, no matter how powerful your mindset develops, you cannot truly rise while dragging the chains of your past. This is a truth most people avoid, not because they are inherently weak, but because letting go often feels, ironically, like losing a part of themselves. Humans are wired to cling to familiarity, even when that familiarity is actively destroying them. We romanticize our suffering, mistakenly believing it defines us. But hear this clearly deep in your soul. Your past is not your home. Your past is not your identity. Your past is not a prison, unless you choose with every new morning to keep living inside it. Everyone carries memories that hurt, moments that scarred them, failures that shaped them, decisions they regret, people who betrayed them, environments that limited them. These memories sit in the mind like old, dusty rooms, untouched, uncleaned, but constantly influencing every decision, every emotion, every interaction. The past only holds power over you when you consciously or unconsciously keep feeding it with your attention. Let me say that again in a way your heart will remember. What you revisit, you reinforce. What you replay, you relive. If you truly want freedom, true liberation, you must stop dragging yesterday's burdens into today's opportunities. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself walking, but your arms, your legs, your very chest are wrapped in heavy, rusted chains. Each link represents something different: a mistake you made, a heartbreak you endured, a limiting belief someone planted in you when you were too young to know better, a failure you never truly forgave yourself for, a wound you never fully healed, a role you played for so long you forgot it was really you. Feel the sheer weight of it. Feel how utterly exhausting it is to move even a few steps forward, with all of that history holding you back. Now, imagine yourself stopping, not to rest, but to decide, to consciously choose to release. And with that resolute choice, the chains, link by link, begin to fall. This is not fantasy. This is precisely what happens internally when you finally say, "The past will not define me anymore. I am not my history." Let us get real for a moment. People often declare, "I cannot change because of what happened to me." But what they are often unconsciously saying is, "I refuse to stop reliving it. The past happened." You cannot rewrite the events, the actions, the words spoken, but you can absolutely, powerfully rewrite their meaning. You can rewrite the story you tell yourself about them. This is the very foundation of liberation. You cannot control what happened to you, but you can, with undeniable power, control who you become because of it. So, here is your first powerful task in this chapter, a task that can fundamentally shift the trajectory of your life. Ask yourself, with brutal honesty. What memories am I still feeding? What old stories am I still repeating? What identities am I still wearing, even though they no longer fit the person I am becoming? Who am I still trying to be for people who are no longer part of my authentic future? Be courageous. This is not about hating the past or denying its impact. It is about no longer surrendering your precious future to it. Some memories will try to cling to you because you have carried them for so long they feel, ironically, like home. But not everything familiar is meant to be kept. The old you lived in those memories, the new you cannot. Forgiveness is an essential part of this process. Not necessarily for others, but profoundly for yourself. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean approving. It does not mean excusing. Forgiveness means releasing the emotional debt you keep charging yourself with, the burden of unresolved pain. Think of it like this. Every time you replay someone's betrayal, you allow them to hurt you again. Every time you relive a failure, you become both the judge and the punished. Every time you revisit a regret, you reopen a wound that was desperately trying to heal. Liberation begins the moment you consciously say, I release this. It no longer controls me. I reclaim my energy. You may not feel different instantly. This is not a magic spell, but your spirit will, your mind will, your energy will begin to shift. Letting go is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice, a decision repeated until it becomes your natural state. Letting go is a profound form of self-respect, a declaration that your future, your peace, and your potential matter more than your lingering suffering. And yes, sometimes letting go means letting go of people. People who keep you tied to old patterns. People who constantly remind you of who you used to be, not who you are becoming. People who speak to your insecurities instead of your boundless potential. People who are comfortable with your weakness, but threatened by your growth. You do not need anger to walk away. You do not need a dramatic ending. You do not need closure from them to find peace. You only need profound alignment with yourself. When someone consistently keeps you stuck, leaving them is not betrayal. It is an act of self-preservation, an act of survival. Will it hurt? Yes, but not as much as staying small, imprisoned by their expectations for the rest of your precious life. As you courageously let go, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your mind becomes lighter, your heart becomes clearer, your future becomes visible again. You rediscover parts of yourself you forgot even existed: ambition, hunger, hope, boundless possibility, the spark of liberty. The old you lived in the past. The new you lives vibrantly in the present and intentionally builds the future. So let this chapter conclude with a simple, powerful reminder. You cannot rebuild your life from zero while holding on to who you were. Release the past, cut the chains. Set yourself truly free so you can finally, gloriously rise. Chapter 3. The Quiet Saboteurs. Eliminating Weak Habits. Let me tell you something that took me far too long to understand. Your life is not falling apart in dramatic, cinematic moments. It is not one big disaster that is holding you back from your potential. It is the small, quiet, almost invisible choices you make every single day that nobody else sees. The 5 minutes that effortlessly turn into an hour on your phone. The promise you made to yourself last Sunday that quietly disappeared by Tuesday. The workout you keep meaning to start. The book you keep meaning to read. The difficult conversation you keep meaning to have. None of these feel like a big deal in the moment. That, my friend, is the insidious trap. You do not drift toward a meaningful life. You only drift away from one. And the current that pulls you is made entirely of small, daily compromises with yourself. I want you to think about a river carving its way through solid stone. If you watched it for an hour or even a day, you would see nothing happening. The water flows, the rock sits there, nothing visibly changes. But come back in 1,000 years, and you will find a canyon so deep you cannot see the bottom. The river did not carve that canyon with one massive flood. It carved it with the same patient, relentless pressure, drop after drop, year after year. Your habits are doing the exact same thing to your life right now. The crucial question is, what are they carving? Are they shaping you into the person you dream of becoming? Person of strength and liberty? Or are they slowly, imperceptibly, hollowing you out? Here is a hard truth, but I am telling it to you because I know you can handle it. The life you are living today is the undeniable receipt of the habits you ran yesterday. Look around you. Your body, your bank account, your relationships, your sense of peace, or the lack of it, none of it is random. None of it is simply bad luck. It is the honest, predictable result of repeated small actions, most of which you stopped noticing a long time ago. And if nothing changes in your daily routine, then nothing truly changes in your life. It really is that simple and that ruthlessly effective. Most people do not fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they keep repeating the same destructive patterns day after day. Weak habits are silent killers. They seem small, they seem harmless, but over time, they compound just like strong habits do. A few minutes wasted here, a promise broken there, a day skipped, a goal delayed, until suddenly years have passed and you are still stuck in the same place. So, let us get honest, you and me. I want you to take a piece of paper. I know it sounds basic, but trust me on this. Write down a normal, ordinary day in your life, not a fantasy day. Not the day you would live if you had your act together, the actual day, from the moment your eyes open to the moment your head hits the pillow. Be specific. What is the first thing you reach for? What are the first words you speak? Where does your attention go first? How long do you spend on each thing? What do you eat? What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? How do you talk to yourself when no one else is listening? Write it all down without softening it, without censoring. When you finish, read it back as if you were a stranger, like someone you are trying to advise. Look at how that person spends their hours. Look at where their energy goes. And then ask yourself kindly but honestly, where is this life heading? Because the day you just described, repeated for 10 or more days, becomes your one and only life. Maybe you will see that you are spending 3 hours a night on apps that drain you and do not even leave you feeling rested. Maybe you will see that you check your phone before you check in with yourself. Maybe you will see that you hit snooze so many times, your morning starts in panic instead of peace. Maybe you will see that you eat without thinking, drink without noticing, work without focus, and sleep without true rest. None of these are sins. None of these make you a bad person. But each one is a tiny pickaxe chipping away at the life of liberty and purpose you say you want, and awareness is the only way to put the pickaxe down. Once you can see your weak habits clearly, you have to make a real decision about them. Not a wish, not a plan to start next month, a decision. There is a profound difference between trying to change and deciding to change, and your nervous system knows it. When you say, "I will try to drink less coffee," your brain hears, "We are not actually committing." When you say, "I am no longer the kind of person who drinks coffee at 6 o'clock a.m. p.m., your brain receives a clear, non-negotiable directive. Identity shifts faster than behavior, and behavior follows identity like a shadow follows light. But here is something nobody tells you. So let me tell you now. Do not just remove a weak habit, replace it. The mind hates a vacuum. If you take something out of your routine without putting something better in its place, the old habit will come crawling back through the side door, perhaps dressed in a different outfit. If you scroll for an hour before bed and you decide to stop, you have to give yourself something else for that hour. A book, a journal, a slow walk, a mindful conversation with someone you love. A few pages written toward a dream you have been postponing. The replacement does not have to be heroic. It just has to be there. Let me give you a concrete example that has changed countless lives. The classic morning struggle. You set your alarm. It goes off. You hit snooze. You hit snooze again. You stumble out of bed already behind, already irritated, already losing the day before it begins. Try this instead. Move your phone across the room tonight. Set your alarm. When it rings in the morning, you have to physically walk to it. Once you're up, drink a glass of water you placed there the night before. Splash cold water on your face. Stand by the window for 60 seconds. Just 60. That is it. The whole ritual takes less than 3 minutes, but those 3 minutes become a vote for the person you are becoming. And if you do it tomorrow and the day after, and the day after that, you will not recognize yourself in 3 months. I promise you, accountability is your secret weapon. Weak habits feed on secrecy. They love the dark. The moment you bring them into the light, they start losing their power. Tell one person you trust about the habit you are cutting. Put a sticky note on your bathroom mirror. Set a reminder on your phone with a single sentence that reminds you who you are choosing to become. Make your environment work for you instead of against you. If junk food is in the cupboard, you will eat it eventually. If your phone is your alarm, you will check social media before your eyes are even fully open. If your gym clothes are buried in a drawer, you will not work out. Design your space like you are designing a trap, and the prey is the old version of you. Now, let me prepare you for something. The first 2 weeks of changing a deeply ingrained habit are hardest. Your mind will scream at you to go back to the comfortable thing. It will offer you very convincing reasons. You have had a long day. You deserve a break. One time will not matter. You will start again tomorrow. That voice is not your friend. That voice is the old you trying desperately to survive. And the old you is fighting for its life right now. Because somewhere deep in your nervous system, your old self knows what you are doing. You are trying to put it to rest. It will not go quietly. But here is the beautiful part. Every single time you choose the harder, better thing, even when it is small, even when no one sees it, you are casting a vote for who you are becoming. And those votes count more than you can imagine. 5 votes will not change much. 500? You become a different person. 5,000? You become someone the old you could not have dreamed of. This is not just motivation. This is mathematics. This is the quiet, patient, compound interest of integrity with yourself. I want you to do something this week, just one thing. Pick one weak habit, just one. Do not try to fix everything at once. That is a recipe for burnout and self-disappointment. Pick the habit that, if you eliminated it, would create the most positive ripple in your life, the most immediate sense of liberty. Maybe it is the late-night phone scrolling that is destroying your sleep. Maybe it is the hidden snacking that is draining your energy. Maybe it is the constant yes saying that is burning you out. Pick that one, replace it with something better, and do it for 7 days. No matter how you feel, you will not be perfect. That is not the point. The point is the showing up. The point is teaching yourself with action that you are someone who keeps promises to themselves now. Because every weak habit you eliminate is a small funeral for the old you. And every strong habit you build is a small birth of the new you. That is how identities are reborn, not in fireworks, in the steady, sacred, ordinary moments that nobody else will ever applaud. You are not going to wake up one day suddenly transformed. You are going to wake up one day and notice you already are. And on that morning, you will smile because you will know it was the small things, the unsexy things, the choices nobody saw that quietly built the life everyone else now envies. Chapter 4. Forge your inner steel, building a warrior mindset. There is a kind of strength that the world desperately needs from you now, and I want to talk to you about it heart. It is not the loud kind, not the angry, chest-beating, prove everyone wrong kind. The world has plenty of that, and most of it is just fear, wearing a costume. The strength I am talking about is quieter, steadier, deeper. It is the strength of someone who has decided, deep in the center of themselves, that no matter what comes, they will not fold. They will not run. They will not abandon themselves or their principles of liberty. I call this the warrior mindset. But maybe a better way to describe it is this. It is the strength of someone who has finally come home to themselves and is not leaving again. Life is going to test you. I am not saying that to scare you. I am saying it because I refuse to lie to you. There will be seasons that will press you to the floor. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fall apart. Doors you thought were unequivocally yours will close in your face. Your own mind will sometimes turn against you in the middle of the night, whispering that you are not enough, not ready, not worthy. In those moments, fleeting motivation will not save you. Motivation is a sugar high. It feels great until it does not, and then it leaves you stranded. What you need is something deeper. A steady inner fire that does not depend on external circumstances, ephemeral applause, or perfect conditions to keep burning. Building this kind of strength, this inner steel, starts with one quiet decision that most people never make, the decision to stop running from discomfort. Read that again slowly. Stop running from discomfort. We have been raised in a culture that treats every uncomfortable feeling like an emergency. Bored, open an app. Anxious, eat something. Sad, numb out. Tired, quit. We have forgotten how to simply sit with hard things. And so, hard things have become, paradoxically, unbearable. But discomfort is not your enemy. Discomfort is a teacher disguised as a problem. Every time you choose the harder path, the conversation you have been avoiding, the workout you do not feel like doing, the project you keep postponing, the truth you keep swallowing, you are training a muscle that most people never develop, the muscle of voluntary difficulty. And that muscle is the very foundation of everything strong you will ever build. The key Giampiti platform. Picture a long-distance swimmer crossing an open channel of cold, choppy water. There are no shortcuts. There is no rescue boat to climb into. There is no one cheering loud enough to make the cold less cold. The only thing the swimmer has is rhythm. One stroke, one breath, one stroke, one breath. The waves come, the current shifts, the mind starts to scream for surrender. But a true swimmer does not stop, because the swimmer has trained not just the body, but the profound relationship with discomfort. They have learned, slowly, painfully, beautifully, that they can handle more than their mind tries to convince them they can. That is the warrior mindset. Not the absence of struggle, but the unwavering willingness to keep stroking through it. You build this same strength, one ordinary, deliberate choice at a time. Every time you do the harder thing on purpose, you are training. When you push through one more set at the gym instead of stopping early, you are training. When you stay focused for 15 more minutes, when your brain is begging for distraction, you are training. When you have the honest conversation instead of the polite one, you are training. When you say no to a craving and yes to a goal, you are training. None of it feels like training in the moment. All of it is. The next layer of the warrior mindset is preparation. Strong people do not wait for a crisis to start building strength. They build strength quietly, daily, before they ever need it, so that when life finally tests them, and it will, they do not crumble. They rise. Read things that stretch your mind. Spend time with people who challenge you to be more, not less. Practice the small disciplines: gratitude, focus, slow breathing, intentional silence. Things nobody can see, but everybody can feel in your presence. These not abstract spiritual ideas. They are mental armor. You forge them in peacetimes, so you have them in wartime. And let me tell you, wartime always comes for all of us eventually. Now, this part might be the most important thing you read in this entire chapter, so slow down with me here. The way you talk to yourself in the silent hours, when no one else is listening, is shaping the entire trajectory of your life. Your inner voice is either your closest ally or your cruelest enemy. There is no neutral. Every thought is a brick. Every brick is going somewhere. And over the years, those bricks build the room you wake up in every morning. So, if your inner voice keeps saying, "You are not enough, you are going to fail, you are stupid for trying, you will never be like them," you have to interrupt it. Not gently, decisively. You have to learn to talk back to that voice, the way you would talk back to anyone trying to harm someone you love. It will feel awkward at first. You will feel like a fraud. That is normal. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. Confidence is evidence you accumulate by doing hard things and keeping promises to yourself. Every warrior in history started out scared. The difference is they moved anyway. They walked toward the thing their mind was screaming at them to avoid, and in the walking, the fear did not disappear. It just stopped having the final word. I want to be clear about something, because too many people get this wrong. A warrior mindset does not mean you do not feel fear. It means fear is no longer the manager of your life. Fear is allowed to ride in the car. Fear is allowed to have an opinion. But fear does not get to drive. You drive. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that what is on the other side of this hard thing is worth more than the comfort of staying small. And every single time you choose that, even shaking, even uncertain, even with tears in your eyes, you become someone the old you could not recognize in the mirror. Start small if you need to. The mind cannot leap from couch potato to mountain climber overnight. You do not have to set one difficult challenge for yourself today, just one. Maybe it is waking up an hour earlier and doing something with that hour that nourishes you. Maybe it is making the phone call you have been putting off for 3 months. Maybe it is saying no to a person who has gotten comfortable saying yes for you. Maybe it is looking yourself in the eye in the mirror and saying out loud, "I am not giving up on you." Whatever it is, do the thing, and then tomorrow, do another one. The wins stack, the strength builds, the identity shifts, slowly at first, and then suddenly, all at once. Here is another piece that will save you so much suffering. Warriors do not waste their energy on what they cannot control. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control what other people think of you. You cannot control whether someone loves you back, whether life is fair, whether the past unfolded differently. The faster you accept this, the lighter you become. What you can control is your effort, your attitude, your boundaries, your response, your daily actions. That is your kingdom. Govern that kingdom well, and stop trying to invade lands that were never yours to rule. As you keep walking this path, something quietly miraculous starts to happen. Life does not necessarily get easier. You get stronger. The same situations that used to crush you start to feel manageable. The criticism that used to ruin your week becomes a passing breeze. The setbacks that used to send you spiraling become opportunities to practice your power. You stop feeling like a leaf in someone else's wind. You start feeling like the kind of person other people lean on in storms. The old version of you was fragile, beautiful perhaps, but fragile, easily shaken, easily wounded, easily convinced to give up. That version did the best it could with what it knew. Honor that version, thank it, and then let it rest. Because the new version of you, the one we are building together with every page, is something else entirely. The new you is unshakable. The new you knows the storms come and meets them with steady eyes. The new you does not crumble under pressure. The new you uses pressure to become even more of who you were always meant to be. Decide today, right now, not someday, that no matter what life sends your way, you will not break, you will bend, yes, you will rest when you need to, absolutely, but you will not break, you will not run, you will not abandon yourself, and from this small sacred decision, an entire new life begins to take shape, not because the world changed, but because you did. Chapter 5. Pruning Your Garden. Cutting toxic influences. The people around you are shaping you, whether you realize it or not. I want you to do something a little uncomfortable for a moment. I want you to think about the 5 people you spend the most time with, not the people you wish you spent time with, not the people you used to be close to, the actual humans whose voices fill your week, the texts you respond to most, the faces you see most, the conversations that take up the most space in your mind. Picture them, name them in your head, and then ask yourself a question that most people are too afraid to ask. After I spend time with each of these people, do I leave feeling more alive, more energized, more aligned with my future? Or do I leave feeling smaller, drained, or pulled back into old patterns? Take your time with that. Do not rush past it, because the answer to that question is quietly designing your future right now, with or without your permission. Here is something I've come to believe with everything in me. You cannot truly heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot grow into someone new, someone empowered and free, while staying surrounded by people who only know how to relate to the old you. You cannot keep watering a garden in soil that has been subtly poisoned, and then wonder why nothing beautiful is growing. The people, the conversations, the digital noise, the daily energy you swim in, all of it is shaping you in ways you can barely measure. Whether you realize it or not, you are slowly becoming an average of your environment. And if your environment is built on gossip, complaint, fear, jealousy, and small thinking, you are quietly absorbing all of it, like a sponge sucking up earthy water. I know how hard this part is. Trust me, I know. We crave connection. We are wired for it. The fear of being alone is one of the oldest fears the human heart has ever known. Nobody wants to feel like the strange one at the family table, or the one who walked away from the friend group, or the one who suddenly stopped showing up. So, we stay. We stay in conversations that drain us. We stay in friendships that have not fit us in years. We stay in family dynamics that keep us small, because the alternative feels like profound loss. But here is what I need you to understand, gently and clearly. Not everyone who has been part of your story is meant to be part of your future. Some people came into your life to teach you something. Some came in to break something open in you, so growth could finally happen. And some came in for one chapter, and you have been forcing them into the whole book. You are allowed to outgrow people. You are allowed to outgrow people you love. You are allowed to outgrow people you grew up with. You are allowed to outgrow people who never did anything technically wrong, but who, for some reason you cannot fully explain, just do not fit who you are becoming. None of that makes you a bad person. It makes you an honest one, committed to your own liberty and growth. Toxic influences are rarely loud monsters. That is the dangerous part. If they were obvious villains, you would have walked away years ago. The truly damaging ones are subtle. They wear the costumes of friend, partner, sibling, cousin, co-worker, mentor. On the surface, they seem to care. They show up sometimes. They remember your birthday, but underneath, the pattern tells a different story. They subtly mock the dreams you mention. They go quiet when something good happens to you. They get loud when something bad happens to you. They compete instead of celebrate. They keep you boxed into the version of yourself they got comfortable with. Because if you change, they will have to look in their own mirror, and they are not ready for that. So they whisper doubts. They make jokes that are not really jokes. They withdraw their warmth the moment you start to rise, and little by little, you start to dim yourself, just to keep the room comfortable. Stop. Please do not shrink to fit a room you have outgrown. There is a metaphor I want to share with you, and I hope it stays with you long after you finish this book. Imagine you are a small fire, a tender, beautiful, brand new fire, trying to grow into a roaring flame. Some people, when they sit beside your fire, bring oxygen. They breathe life into you. You burn brighter when they are near. Other people, without even realizing it, sit on top of your flame. They do not mean to put you out. They just take up so much room with their negativity, their fears, their unhealed wounds, that there is no oxygen left for you to grow. You can love them, you can wish them well, but you cannot keep letting them sit on your fire and then wonder why you feel so cold inside. Cutting off toxic influences does not have to be dramatic. It does not require a big confrontation. It does not require speeches, accusations, or ceremonies. Sometimes it is as quiet as choosing to text back later instead of immediately. Sometimes it is choosing not to share the next chapter of your life with the people who could not handle the previous one. Sometimes it is simply walking out of a conversation and choosing not to walk back in. You do not owe anyone an explanation for protecting your energy and your peace. You really do not. Anyone who demands one was probably part of what was draining it. And listen, this is not only about people. Your environment includes everything you absorb every day, the shows you watch, the accounts you scroll, the voices in your earbuds, the articles your eyes graze over. If you spend 3 hours a day consuming content that makes you anxious, jealous, or fearful, you are paying a price you cannot yet see. The mind is a receiving instrument. It treats every bit of information like a tiny instruction. Feed it stories of betrayal, anger, drama, comparison, and that becomes the lens you start seeing the world through. Feed it stories of growth, possibility, courage, and discipline. And slowly, almost without noticing, your inner world starts to align with that. Cleaning up your mental diet is not a small thing. It is one of the most powerful upgrades you can ever make, and it costs you nothing but the willingness to be honest about what you are feeding yourself. Now, let us talk about the guilt, because I know it is there. So many people stay in environments that hurt them because they feel guilty about leaving. They tell themselves, but this is family, or we have been friends for 15 years, or she was there for me when no one else was, and those stories matter. They do. Loyalty is one of the most beautiful traits a human being can have, but loyalty has to flow both ways, or it is not loyalty, it is captivity. If someone consistently disrespects your dreams, mocks your boundaries, talks behind your back, drains your energy, and keeps trying to pull you back into a smaller version of yourself, then staying loyal to them is being profoundly disloyal to yourself. And the most important relationship of your life, the one you can never escape, the one that will be with you on your last day, is the one you have with yourself. Honor it fiercely. You are not responsible for saving anyone. Read that one again slowly. You are not responsible for saving anyone. You can love them. You can pray for them. You can wish them well from a distance. You can leave the door open without sitting in the doorway your whole life. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to walk away and become the example they need. Some people will only learn what is possible by watching someone they used to dismiss become someone they have to respect. Yes, there will be loneliness in this season. I will not pretend otherwise. Growth often feels lonely at first because you are outgrowing the place that used to feel like home, and you have not yet arrived at the new home being built for you. But that loneliness is a temporary tunnel, not a permanent room. The damage of staying in toxic places is permanent. The discomfort of leaving is temporary. Choose the temporary discomfort. Always, always, always. Here is a practical step you can take this week. Make a quiet list, just for you, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Next, to each name, write 2 things. How do I feel before I see them? How do I feel after I leave them? Be honest. Do not soften it to protect their feelings. They will never see this list. This is your soul's report card on your environment. And then ask gently, who needs more of my time and who needs less? You do not have to act dramatically. You just have to start adjusting the dial. More time with the ones who breathe life into your fire, less time with the ones who keep sitting on it. Let me leave you with this. The old you stayed in places that drained you because you were afraid of what would happen if you left. The new you understands that staying somewhere that is slowly killing your spirit is the actual danger. Walking away is not the loss. Staying is. The old you accepted whatever scraps of attention were available. The new you knows your peace is more valuable than other people's comfort. So, protect your fire, protect your time. Protect your dreams. Protect the version of you that is finally rising. Because once you do, the right people, the soul-feeding people, the ones who clap when you win and pull you up when you fall, they will start finding their way to you. They have been waiting for you to make room. Chapter 6. The Architect of Your Choices, Mastering Self-Control. There is one inner skill that, if you truly build it, will quietly transform every other part of your life. Without it, every dream you chase will eventually leak out through the cracks of your impulses. With it, you become almost unstoppable. I am talking about self-mastery, the profound ability to choose the action that serves your long game, even when every part of you is screaming for the comfortable, immediate thing. It is not glamorous. It is not loud, but it is, without exaggeration, the fundamental difference between people who keep building lives they deeply love and people who keep starting over with the same persistent regrets. Let me ask you something honestly. How many times have you set a goal you genuinely cared about, only to watch yourself subtly sabotage it within days? Not because the goal was wrong, not because life suddenly became impossible, but because in some quiet moment, your impulses won. The phone won, the snack won, the Netflix episode won, the warm bed won, the familiar argument won. The old version of you, the one that lives off short-term, feel-good hits, took the wheel again, and you watched yourself drive past your dream like it was just another billboard on the side of the road. If that has been your story, please do not be hard on yourself. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply living in a world that has been engineered deliberately and brilliantly to hijack your attention every minute of every day. Apps are designed by neuroscientists to keep you endlessly scrolling. Foods are engineered in laboratories to override your natural fullness signals. Entertainment is calibrated to keep you watching one more episode, one more season. The world is not neutral. It is actively competing for your nervous system. And most people lose this fight without ever truly realizing they were in one. So this is not a chapter about sheer willpower. Willpower alone will fail you every time because it is a finite resource. This is a chapter about something much more important: awareness, design, and identity, the three quiet pillars of someone who can no longer be controlled by their impulses. Let us start with awareness, because everything truly begins there. You cannot master what you cannot see. Most impulses run on autopilot. You do not consciously decide to grab the phone. Your hand is already there. You do not consciously decide to open the fridge. You are already standing in front of it. You do not consciously decide to start the argument. The words are already leaving your mouth. The first act of self-mastery is slowing down enough to actually witness the moment between trigger and reaction, to notice the small wave of feeling that comes before the action. To name it: tiredness, loneliness, boredom, anxiety, stress. The impulse is rarely about what you think it is about. The phone is rarely about the phone. The food is rarely about hunger. The fight is rarely about what was just said. There is almost always a deeper feeling underneath that is looking for relief, and your impulse is the cheapest, fastest answer it has learned to reach for. Once you can see the pattern, you can interrupt it. Here is the simplest, most life-changing tool I can offer you: the pause. When you feel an impulse rise, do not wrestle it. Wrestling makes it stronger. Just pause. Take one slow, full breath. Count to 5. That is it. In that tiny pocket of time, something extraordinary becomes possible: choice. Most of life is lost in the half-second between feeling and reaction, where there is no choice, only habit. The pause inserts space. The space inserts choice. The choice inserts power. You may still go ahead and do the impulsive thing, and that is okay, but sometimes, just sometimes, you will choose differently. Those small different choices, repeated over months, completely rewire who you are. This is not theory. This is how every disciplined person you have ever admired actually built their inner life, one pause at a time. Now let us talk about design, because I do not want you carrying the weight of this alone. Here is a truth that will save you a lot of suffering. Self-mastery is not about being stronger than your environment. It is about designing an environment that does not constantly require you to be a hero. If junk food is in your kitchen, you will eat it eventually. If your phone is on your nightstand, you will scroll before you sleep and the moment you wake. If your gym bag is at the bottom of a closet, you will not work out. If your goal is buried under 50 notifications, it will not survive. Strong people are not strong because they fight harder. They are strong because they have set up their lives in a way that the right choice is the easy choice. Design your day so that doing the harmful thing is harder than doing the helpful thing. Move temptation farther away. Move your tools closer. Make your phone harder to reach. Make your water bottle impossible to miss. Make your books visible. Make your distractions inconvenient. You are not cheating by setting up your environment. You are being profoundly wise. You are recognizing that future you, in a tired, stressed late-night moment, is not always going to win a fair fight with present you. So tilt the field in your favor while you have the clarity to do it. Now we come to the deepest part, and I want you to listen with both your mind and your heart. Self-mastery is, in the end, an identity issue. Most people fail at change because they keep trying to change their behavior without changing the story they tell themselves about who they are. They say, "I am trying to eat better," but underneath, they still see themselves as a person who loves junk food and is barely resisting it. So every choice becomes a battle, and eventually they get tired and lose. The deeper, more powerful move is to shift the identity itself. Instead of "I am trying not to drink tonight," it becomes "I do not drink anymore. That is not who I am now." Instead of "I am trying to stop scrolling so much," it becomes "I am someone who protects my mind. Mindless scrolling is not who I am anymore." The behavior follows the identity, not the other way around. When you change the story of who you are, the impulses lose their grip on you because they no longer match the person you have decided to be. Picture self-mastery, like a sculptor with a block of marble. The sculptor does not add anything. The sculptor removes. Every careful chip of the chisel takes away what is not the statue, slowly revealing what was always inside the stone. That is what self-mastery does. It does not add new you. It chips away at everything that is not you. Every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose the long game over the short hit, every time you say no to something that would have owned you yesterday, you are not becoming someone artificial. You are uncovering who you actually were under all the noise. The statue was always inside the stone. Your true self was always inside the impulses. Self-mastery is just the patient process of revealing it, of liberating it. You will slip. Of course, you will. There is no version of this journey where you walk a perfect line. The goal is not perfection. The goal is the relationship with yourself. Each time you slip and choose to come back, you are teaching yourself something incredibly important. That setbacks are not the end. That coming back to yourself is always available. That you can fall 5 times and still be the person who got up 6. The people who eventually master themselves are not the ones who never fell. They are the ones who built such a kind, steady relationship with themselves that falling did not shake the foundation. Real freedom, the kind worth chasing, is not the freedom to do whatever you feel like in any given moment. That kind of freedom is actually slavery in a costume. Real freedom is the power to choose your actions with clarity and purpose, even when your feelings are pulling you somewhere else. It is the freedom of someone who can sit with hunger without panicking, sit with boredom without scrolling, sit with sadness without numbing, sit with disappointment without lashing out. That kind of freedom is rare in this world, and it is yours to build. One quiet pause, one small choice, one new identity statement at a time. The old version of you lived on autopilot, reactive, easily pulled, run by feelings that came and went like weather. The new version of you is something else, deliberate, steady, calm under pressure, trustworthy to yourself first. And when you become trustworthy to yourself, something amazing happens. You finally start to like the person you are becoming. Not because you are proud in some arrogant way, but because you can feel in your bones that you are no longer betraying yourself 1,000 small times a day. And that, my friend, is the real beginning of peace, of personal liberty. So today, just today, choose one moment to practice. One pause, one small no to an impulse that has owned you for years. One small yes to the long game version of yourself. That single choice will not change your entire life, but it is a vote, it is a brick, it is a chip of the chisel. And the statue is closer than you think. Chapter 7. The Blank Canvas. Designing your life from zero. There is a moment in every real transformation that almost no one talks about. And I want to talk about it with you now, because if you do not see it coming, it can subtly knock you off course. It is the moment after you have started letting go, after you've faced some hard truths, after you have put down some of the crippling weight, after you've stepped back from people and patterns that were quietly draining you. There you are, standing in the middle of your own life, and suddenly you notice something unsettling. It is quiet, maybe too quiet. The drama is gone. The familiar weight is gone. The constant noise that used to fill your head is gone. And instead of feeling immediately free, you feel something you did not expect. You feel exposed. You feel like you are standing on a vast, empty beach with no map, no plan, no script for what comes next, and a small, anxious voice inside you whispers, "Now what?" My friend, that empty feeling is not a problem. That feeling is a doorway. You are standing on what artists, designers, and dreamers have always called the most powerful place in the world, the blank page. And the blank page is not a curse. It is the most generous, liberating gift you have been given in years. Most people never get here. They keep their lives so cluttered, so reactive, so busy, so filled with obligations and external demands, that they never have to face the profound freedom of starting fresh. But you are here. You have earned this space, and what you choose to do in this blank space will shape the next decade of your life. Let me tell you the truth about starting from zero, because the world has often lied to you about it. The world makes zero sound like failure, like rock bottom, like you have lost everything. But zero, real zero, is actually the cleanest, most honest, most empowered place a person can stand. Zero means there is nothing left in your life that does not belong to you. No leftover obligations from a past version of yourself. No commitments you made out of fear or expectation. No relationships that quietly consume you. No habits running in the background, like apps whenever consciously installed. Just you, just the blank page. Just the quiet, potent question. Now that I truly get to choose, what do I actually want to build? What kind of liberty do I seek? Here is the part that most people miss. They get to the blank page and immediately try to fill it with whatever shiny thing comes to mind. They jump from idea to idea. They copy someone else's life. They chase whatever is trending. And then 6 months later, they wonder why their new life feels just as exhausting and unfulfilling as the old one. The blank page is not fulfilling. The blank page is not fulfilling. There is a profound difference. Filling is reactive. Designing is intentional. And the new you, the one we are building together, is not in the business of reacting anymore. The new you is in the business of designing on purpose, with conscious, deliberate intent. So, how do we start? Vision first, always. Before any plan, any goal, any strategy, you need vision. And I do not mean a vague, "I want to be happy and successful." That is not a vision. That is a Hallmark card. I am talking about a deep, vivid, almost cinematic picture of the life you actually want to wake up inside. Find a quiet hour. Yes, a whole hour. Not 5 rushed minutes between meetings. An actual hour. Sit down with a notebook, or just close your eyes if writing is not your thing, and imagine yourself 5 years from now living a life you would build on purpose. Do not filter it. Do not judge it for being unrealistic. Do not worry yet about how it will happen. Just see it. What does the morning look like? Where do you wake up? Whose breath is next to you? Or is it just you and the soft morning light? What is the first thing you do? What is the texture of the sheets? The smell of the air? The temperature in the room? Walk yourself slowly through the day. What kind of work are you doing? And how does it feel inside your chest while you do it? Who are the people you spend time with? And what does it feel like to be truly loved by them? What does your body feel like? Strong, rested, at peace. What is the slow rhythm of your evenings? What kind of conversations do you have at the end of the day? When you finally lie down at night, what is the feeling that fills you? Is it satisfaction? Is it gratitude? Is it the quiet pride of someone who is finally living a life that authentically fits them? Be detailed. Detail is everything. The clearer you can see it, more your subconscious starts working on it. Most dreams die off not because they were too big, but because they were too vague. Vague dreams cannot recruit your nervous system. Specific dreams can. Specific dreams turn into specific decisions. Specific decisions turn into specific actions. Specific dreams turn into specific decisions. Specific decisions turn into specific actions. Specific actions become a life. Now that you have a vision, you need a compass, and your compass is your values. Most people have never sat down and decided what they actually value. They have just absorbed their values from family, culture, social media, and old relationships. So, they wander through life feeling unsure why every successful choice still leaves them empty. Here is the secret. If your goals are not aligned with your real core values, achieving them will feel like winning the wrong prize. So pause and ask yourself deeply, without judgment, what truly matters to me, more than convenience, more than comfort, more than the approval of others. Do you value growth? Then your new life must be built around challenges that stretch you. Do you value freedom? Then your habits, your finances, your environment must be designed to free you, not trap you. Do you value peace? Then anything that consistently steals your peace must be removed without hesitation. Do you value integrity? Then your words, actions, and inner standards must align perfectly. Values are not wishes. Values are commitments. And when your identity aligns with your values, your life begins to feel like it finally, perfectly fits. Rebuilding from zero asks you to make a profound shift. Stop trying to change the world around you. Start changing the world within you. Because your internal world is what ultimately creates your external reality. Clarity inside creates clarity outside. Order inside creates order outside. Strength inside creates strength outside. So pause for a moment. Listen to your breath. Feel the quietness of this chapter. You are standing on new ground now, a ground where nothing is fixed, nothing is predetermined. Nothing is holding you back. You are profoundly free to build. Ask yourself, what version of me would I be proud to wake up as every day? What identity would make the struggle worth it? What future would feel aligned, honest, powerful, and true? Whatever comes to mind, that is the blueprint. That is who your soul has been waiting for you to become. And now, you are no longer rebuilding from memory. You are rebuilding from vision. You are no longer shaped by what was. You are shaped by what could be, by the boundless potential of your own liberty. Let this chapter end with a quiet but unshakable declaration. A declaration that marks the beginning of your true rebirth. I am no longer tied to who I was. I am becoming the person I choose to be. My identity, my values, my future, all redesigned with intention. I rebuild myself from zero, because from zero, everything becomes possible. Chapter 8. The Sacred Architecture. Building Unshakable Daily Routines. If I could give you only one piece of practical wisdom from this entire book, one insight that underpins all true liberty and lasting change, it would be this: stop chasing the big breakthrough. Start protecting the small day. Because here is the secret almost no one wants to hear. Your life is not built in the dramatic, memorable moments. It is built in the thousands of small, unseen moments we do not even notice. The cup of coffee at 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning. the quiet choice between the gym and the couch, the 15 minutes you spend reading instead of scrolling, the way you talk to yourself in the shower, the first thought you allow into your mind in the morning, the last thought you allow into your mind at night. Most people are obsessed with the grandeur of the cathedral and ignore the painstaking work of laying the bricks. But the cathedral is nothing more than a long, patient, precise sequence of bricks placed on top of each other with immense care. Your life is exactly the same. Daily routines are the sacred architecture of an ordinary day. They are the invisible structure that holds everything else up. When your routines are weak, scattered, or accidental, your whole life feels like it is running on a tired engine, sputtering forward by sheer force of will, constantly battling for control. When your routines are strong, intentional, and perfectly aligned with the life you are trying to build, something incredible happens. Progress becomes almost automatic. You stop needing motivation, because motivation was never truly reliable anyway. You stop relying on willpower in critical moments, because the routine has already done most of the heavy lifting before the moment even arrives. Your routines become the kind of friend who shows up early, stays late, and never lets you down, even on the days when you are convinced you cannot keep going. Imagine a small lighthouse keeper on a quiet, wind-swept coast. She does not wake up each morning and ask, "Should I light the lamp today?" She does not wait for inspiration to strike. She does not check whether she feels like it. The boats out at sea depend on that light. And so she does what she has always done. She climbs the stairs. She fills the lamp. She trims the wick. She lights it. And the light is on. Not because she felt like it, but because she has built a life where the light goes on regardless of how she feels. That is precisely what a strong routine does for you. It takes the question out of the equation. The light goes on. The work gets done. The promise to yourself is kept. Not because the day was easy, but because the system was decided long before the day even began. Let us skapat jormo morning, because the way you begin the day is the rehearsal for the entire day. If your first hour is rushed, panicked, reactive, with your face in a phone before your feet even touch the floor, you have already given the day permission to run you. You are catching up before you have even started. Compare that to a different first hour. You wake up before the world reaches for you. You drink a glass of water. You move your body, even just a little, a gentle stretch, a short walk. You take a few slow, centering breaths. You say something kind to yourself, out loud or in your head. You spend a few minutes reading something that lifts you, or writing something that clears your mind. You decide your top 1 to 3 priorities for the day before the world tries to decide them for you. None of this needs to take more than 30 minutes. But those 30 minutes fundamentally change the rest of the 16 hours. They are not separate from your life. They are a tiny, powerful declaration of who is in charge today. Either you are, or the incessant noise of the world is. Choose carefully. Now, let us talk about your evenings, because this is the part most people get wrong. The evening sets up the next morning. If your evening is chaotic, your next day starts behind. If your evening is intentional, your next day starts ahead. So consider this. What if you stopped scrolling 30 minutes earlier than you currently do? What if you wrote down tomorrow's 3 most important priorities before you went to sleep, so your subconscious had something meaningful to work on overnight? What if you took 10 minutes to reflect on your day? Not to criticize yourself, but to celebrate one small win and gently acknowledge one small lesson. What if you gave yourself the gift of a slower, calmer wind down, the way you would help a tired child fall asleep? Your nervous system is, in many ways, like that child. Sometimes it needs to be put down gently, not crashed into bed after hours of overstimulation. Treat it with the same care you give a loved one. and watch how differently you feel in the morning. Here is the rule I want you to write somewhere visible. Simplicity is what makes a routine survive. People design these elaborate 20-step morning routines on social media that look beautiful and last about 6 days. Do not fall for it. Pick 2 or 3 core actions and master those. That is it. Start there. Master is the key word. Once those 2 or 3 actions become as automatic as brushing your teeth, then, and only then, do you add the next layer. You are not building a list. You are building an identity, the identity of someone who keeps small, sacred promises to themselves every single day. That identity is worth more than any complicated system you could ever copy from someone else's life. Here is something that took me years to learn. Discipline is just love for your future self. Every time you do the routine when you do not feel like it, you are loving the version of you that is going to wake up tomorrow. You are choosing them over your tired, present self. You are saying, I know you do not want to do this right now, but the person you are becoming needs you to, so let us go. That kind of self-love is rare. It does not get celebrated on social media. It does not have a hashtag. It happens in the quiet hours when no one is watching. But it is the most healing form of love a human being can practice on themselves. It is how you slowly, gently, undeniably teach your nervous system that you can be trusted. And once you can trust yourself, your entire inner world changes. Now, I know what some part of you is saying, but what about when life gets crazy? What about when something goes wrong? What about when I'm exhausted, sick, traveling, overwhelmed? That is where strong routines truly prove themselves. They are anchors. When everything else gets stormy, the routine is the place you come back to. You may not do the full version. That is okay. Even a tiny, abbreviated version of your routine on the worst day is a way of telling yourself, I have not abandoned us. I am still here. I still believe in the liberty we are building. Missing one day will not destroy you. Missing too many in a row will. So, protect the chain. Treat it like something sacred, because it is. I want you to track your routines. Write them down somewhere you can see them. Check them off each day. Watch the streak grow. There is something almost addictive, in the best way, about watching your own consistency build before your eyes. It is the most honest mirror you can hold up to yourself. The streak does not lie. The streak does not flatter. The streak just shows you gently who you are choosing to be one day at a time. And on the days when motivation has left the room entirely, the streak will become the friend that whispers, do not break me, not today. Let me say something to you that I wish someone had said to me earlier. The unsexy daily routine is the most powerful thing in your life, and almost no one ever talks about it that way. Everyone wants to talk about the moment of glory, the viral moment, the big check, the breakthrough. But every single one of those moments in every life that has ever truly moved someone was built on top of thousands of unwitnessed, ordinary, boring days. The runner who breaks the world record was not built on race day. The runner was built on the cold, quiet mornings when no one was clapping and the alarm went off in the dark. The author whose book changed your life was not built in the moment the book came out. The author was built at 5 a.m. at a kitchen table, writing one slow page at a time. Greatness is hidden inside ordinary days. So stop waiting for a special moment to start. The ordinary day is the moment. Here is your gentle challenge today. Design one small morning routine and one small evening routine. Keep them tiny, embarrassingly tiny, if you have to. 3 things in the morning, 3 things in the evening. Decide what they are right now. Write them down. Then commit to doing them in some form for the next 30 days. Even on the bad days, especially on the bad days, The bad days where the real identity is forged. The old you waited for motivation to show up. The old you let the day run you instead of running the day. The new you is profoundly different. The new you understands that the rhythm of your days is quietly the rhythm of your life. The new you protects the morning, honors the evening, trusts the quiet repetition, and one ordinary day at a time builds something that the loud world will eventually notice. Not because you got lucky, but because you were faithful in the smallest places when no one was watching but you. And that, my friend, is how a life gets built, brick by sacred brick. Chapter 9. The Currency of Your Future. Developing Valuable Skills. If you want to rebuild your life from zero, you need more than just a vision and good habits. You need to become valuable. Value is what creates opportunities. Value is what gets you noticed, respected, and rewarded in a world that is constantly changing. Without value, you are easily replaceable. And when you are easily replaceable, you are always at the mercy of others, employers, circumstances, even fickle luck. But the moment you decide, with everything in you, to become rare in some specific, useful way, the entire game shifts. Doors that were once hermetically sealed suddenly swing open. People who did not return your messages start chasing you. Compensation, profound respect, and true freedom begin to find their way to you, almost without conscious effort. Why? Because the world does not pay you for your hours. The world pays you for the difficulty, the rarity of replacing you. And that, my friend, is something you can absolutely build on purpose, starting now. Most people, and I say this gently, never figure this out. They live their entire careers trading time for money, hoping someone will notice them, hoping a raise will come, hoping things will magically get better. They keep depositing the same level of skill into the world for 30 years and wonder why the harvest never gets bigger. Hope is not a strategy. Skill is the most reliable, enduring source of freedom in this world, more than luck, more than connections, more than inherited money. It is the patient, deliberate development of skills that very few people are willing to develop. Hard skills, soft skills, strange and unique combinations of skills that no one else has quite put together the way you can. That is the asset nobody can take from you. Houses can be lost. Jobs can disappear. Markets can crash. But what you have built to your own mind and hands is yours forever, and it travels everywhere you go. So how do you start? You start with honest self-inquiry. Not the polite kind, the deep, searching kind. What are you naturally drawn to those that other people seem to find difficult? What do friends, family, or co-workers consistently come to you for, even when they do not realize they are doing it? What problems do you find yourself solving without being asked? What kind of conversations do you lose hours in without noticing the time pass? These are profound clues. The world has been quietly handing you data about your unique gifts your entire life. But most people are too busy, too distracted, to read the messages. Now hold those clues in one hand and ask the second crucial question. Where in the world is there real, paying, growing demand for what I am naturally good at, or for skills I could become good at? This is the magic intersection. What you love doing meets what the world is willing to invest in. That is the place to plant your flag. Maybe you have always loved telling stories, and the world is starving for great storytellers, content creators, copywriters, marketers, scriptwriters. Maybe you are quietly fascinated by how systems work, and the world will pay almost anything for someone who can build, fix, or design the intricate systems that hold modern life together. Maybe you have a way with people, the rare ability to make others feel truly seen and understood, and the world desperately needs leaders, coaches, salespeople, and connectors who actually care. The intersection exists. It always exists. You just have to be honest enough with yourself to find it. Once you have located it, here is the part that separates almost everyone from the truly exceptional few. Commit to mastery, not dabbling. The world is full of people who know little about a lot of things. The world is starving for people who have gone deep, deeply deep, into one or two things. Depth creates rarity. Rarity creates value. Value creates options. Options create freedom. Most people stay shallow because depth requires patience. And patience is the rarest currency in a world built for instant gratification. They jump from idea to idea, course to course, business to business, and after 5 years, they are 5 years older with the same scattered skill set. Do not be that person. Pick something. Go deep. Stay there until you become someone people whisper about. Mastery is built through what some call deliberate practice. It is not just doing the thing for a long time. It is doing a thing in a focused, intentional, often uncomfortable way, with feedback, with reflection, with the unwavering willingness to look honestly at what you are not yet good at. It is showing up on the days when you do not want to. It is reviewing your work when reviewing your work feels embarrassing. It is being a beginner over and over again at deeper levels of your craft, even after you thought you were past that. Mastery is not a peak you reach. It is a relationship you keep returning to. And every time you return, you go a little deeper, and the gap between you and the casual version of yourself grows wider, more profound. I want you to think of your skill development like climbing a long spiral staircase inside an old stone tower. Each turn looks much like the one before it. The view does not change much for a long time. There are moments when you feel like you are simply walking in circles, going nowhere. But every quiet to deliberate step is taking you higher. And then, one ordinary day, you reach a window you did not even know was up there, and suddenly, you can see for miles. People at the bottom cannot even imagine the view you have now. They did not see the staircase. They did not take the steps. That is why so few people get there, not because the staircase is impossible, but because most people quit on the part where the view does not seem to change. Here is something we have to talk about, because most people get this wrong. Do not only focus on hard skills. Soft skills are the silent multiplier on everything you build. You can be the most technically brilliant person in your field, but if you cannot communicate, cannot listen, cannot lead, cannot stay calm under pressure, cannot have hard conversations with kindness and integrity, your value will always be capped. Most successful people I have ever observed are not necessarily the most technically gifted. They are the ones who have combined real expertise with real humanity. Learn to write clearly. Learn to speak with presence. Learn to listen so deeply that people feel truly met when they are around you. Learn to give and receive feedback without your ego catching fire. These are not extra skills. These are the skills that ultimately decide who actually gets the opportunities, who keeps the relationships, and who builds the kind of life that has both success and profound connection in it. Now, please hear this carefully because it changes everything. You are not behind. I know you sometimes feel like you are. I know there are moments when you scroll past someone 5 years younger than you, with a life that looks 10 years ahead of yours, and you feel that quiet ache in your chest. I have felt it too. It is human, but that comparison is a lie. You are not behind. You are exactly where the work begins. Every master in every field was once exactly where you are right now, looking at someone further along and quietly wondering if they had what it took. The only difference between them and the people who never made it is that they stopped comparing and started practicing. The clock is going to keep moving forward. whether you build skills or not. 5 years from now, you will be 5 years older. Either way, the question is, will you also be 5 years better? Test what you are learning in the real world. This part terrifies people, but it is the part that grows you the fastest. Theory without application is hollow. So take on small projects. Volunteer your skill where it can make a difference. Freelance, even for free at first, just to put your work into a real context with real feedback. Build something, ship something, send the work out. The first time, it will be embarrassing. So will the 10th. By the 100th, you will be unrecognizable from the person who started. There is a kind of confidence that can only be earned by doing imperfect work in public over and over until your hands learn what your mind has been studying. There is a mindset shift here that I want to give you because it changes the whole conversation about value. Stop asking, "What can I get?" Start asking, "What can I give?" The people who build the most abundant free lives I have ever known are obsessed not with extraction, but with contribution. They wake up thinking, how can I make someone's life better today through what I am becoming great at? And almost as a beautiful side effect, the world rewards them again and again in ways that feel almost magical. This is not naive idealism. This is one of the most practical truths of how a meaningful career, business, or craft is built. Generosity at scale is one of the most powerful forms of leverage in this world. People can sense it. People remember it. People come back to it. Building your skills is not about working until you collapse. It is about building leverage. When your skills are rare and real, you stop fighting for scraps. You stop accepting whatever someone is willing to give you. You start choosing. You choose your clients. You choose your projects. You choose your hours. You choose your collaborators. You choose your peace. That is freedom in its truest, most practical form, and it does not come from luck. It comes from the patient, faithful, often invisible work of becoming someone the world cannot easily replace. So today, I want you to ask yourself one quiet, honest question. If I committed to mastering one skill for the next 2 years, like really deeply, embarrassingly committed, what would that skill be? What kind of profound liberty and opportunity would it open in my life if I became truly, undeniably good at it? Do not answer in 5 seconds. Sit with it. Walk with it. Let it follow you for a few days. The answer is already inside you, and the moment you commit to it, the spiral staircase begins. You will not see the view yet. That is okay. Just take the first step, then take another. The window is up there. It is closer than you think. Chapter 10. Building Your Financial Fortress, a Bulletproof Foundation. Let me begin this chapter with a deep breath, because I know money is one of those topics that brings up a lot of emotion in people. Shame, anxiety, old family wounds, memories of moments when there was not enough. Stories you absorbed when you were too young to question them. If any of that is rising in you right now, just notice it gently. You are not alone in feeling this. Most people carry quiet financial wounds they have never spoken out loud. So, take a breath with me. We are going to walk through this together with kindness, but also with the uncompromising honesty you deserve. Because here is the truth. You cannot fully rebuild yourself and truly experience personal liberty while your finances are quietly crumbling underneath you. Money does not buy meaning, but a life of constant financial stress will steal your peace, your sleep, your creativity, and eventually your very sense of who you are and what you are capable of. You deserve more than mere survival. You deserve a quiet fortress of stability built on choices you fully understand and control. Let us start with a truth that feeds a lot of people. The size of your income's often not the main problem. The relationship you have with money is. There are people earning modest incomes who are quietly building serious wealth because they have a clear, calm, intentional relationship with every dollar that passes through their hands. And there are people earning large incomes who are drowning because every raise just expands the size of the lifestyle that is eating them alive. More money does not solve a broken relationship with money. It only amplifies whatever was already there. So before we talk about strategies, we have to begin with awareness, with honesty, with the courage to look. The first move is so simple it sounds almost insulting, but it is the move that quietly changes everything. Track your money, not vaguely, actually. For the next month, write down every single thing you spend, every dollar that comes in, every dollar that goes out. Do not adjust your behavior yet. Just observe, just see. Most people refuse to do this because they are afraid of what they will see, and that fear, more than the spending itself, is what keeps them stuck. The truth does not hurt as much as you think it will. The truth, in fact, is the beginning of your power, your liberty. Once you can see exactly where your money is going, you stop being a passive passenger in your own financial life. You become the conscious driver again. You may discover, as so many people do, that small, almost invisible expenses are quietly draining you. The subscriptions you forgot you had. The food orders that felt small in the moment, but added up to a frightening number by the end of the month. The treat-yourself habits that turned into unconscious, destructive patterns. None of this makes you a bad person. It just means we are a normal human being, living in a world designed to make spending almost frictionless, almost invisible. But once you see it, you can choose differently. Awareness is the door. You just have to be brave enough to walk through it. After awareness comes the foundation. And the first stone of any real financial foundation is a small emergency fund, not a giant retirement account, not a complex investment portfolio, not even a side business. A small, simple cushion of cash, kept somewhere boring and safe, that exists for one purpose, to keep one bad month from becoming one bad year. Even if you can only start with the equivalent of 1 week of expenses, start there, because here is what an emergency fund actually buys you. And it is the most underrated purchase a human being can make. It buys you breathing room. It buys you the ability to make decisions from a place of calm instead of panic. Buys you the right to say no to things that do not honor your values, because you do not desperately need the money. That kind of breathing room is, quite literally, priceless. It is the cornerstone of financial liberty. Now let us gently talk about debt, because this is where many people feel the most weight. If you carry high-interest debt right now, please do not shame yourself for it. Most people were never truly taught how money works, how the system is often stacked against them. You are not stupid. You are not careless. You are someone who is learning in real time how to take back the keys to a system that was never properly explained to you. But here is the truth you have to face. High-interest debt is one of the heaviest invisible weights a human being can carry. Every month, a portion of your future is being silently transferred to someone else just because you owe them. The longer it sits, the heavier it gets. So make a plan, not a perfect plan, a real one. Pick a method that makes sense for you. Focus on the highest interest balances first, for example, and start chipping away with whatever you can spare. Each payment is more than a number. It is one less chain on your future. It is one more brick of freedom being placed back into your hands. As you rebuild, learn to live below your means. And please understand, this is not the joyless, miserable life that some people imagine. Living below your means is not poverty. Poverty is having no choice. Living below your means is having choice. It is having the power to say, I could afford this, but I am choosing the future I am building, the freedom I am cultivating, over this momentary craving. That kind of intentional, conscious spending is one of the most beautifully grown-up things a person can do. Before any purchase, ask yourself with a soft voice, does this fit the life I am designing? If yes, enjoy it without guilt. If no, simply let it pass. Each no to something unimportant is a yes to something deeply important. And the people who learn to feel that yes in their bones are the ones who quietly build wealth while everyone else is performing for social media. Now, while cutting expenses is important, please do not let anyone trick you into thinking it is the only side of the equation. There is a ceiling on how much you can cut, but there is no ceiling on how much you can earn. This is where the previous chapter, the one about skills, comes back into your life like a closed loop. The more valuable you become, the more streams of income you can build, not in a frantic, hustling, never-rest kind of way, in a calm, steady, deliberate way, a side project, a growing skill that translates into freelance work, a small business idea you keep refining on weekends, a raise you finally feel confident asking for because your value has genuinely grown. Multiple streams of income are not a luxury, they are protection, they are options. They are the profound difference between being held hostage by one paycheck and being able to walk through life with quiet, real choice. Saving alone will not make you wealthy. I wish someone had told me this earlier in life. With inflation quietly eating away at your money every year, just storing cash is like trying to fill a bucket with a slow leak in the bottom. So at some point, when your foundation is in place, you have to learn to invest. Do not let the word scare you. You do not need to be a financial genius. Start with simple, time-tested, boring approaches, index funds, retirement accounts, long-term, slow, patient growth. Investing is about putting your money in places where it can quietly work for you while you sleep. The earlier you start, even with small amounts, the more time becomes your secret partner. Time more than skill, more than timing, more than luck, is the most powerful force in building real wealth. Every year you wait costs you more than you can imagine. Imagine your wealth like a river slowly carving a path through solid stone. In the beginning, it looks tiny, almost insignificant. You cannot see why it matters. But year by year, the river deepens. Year by year, the path widens. Year by year, the small, steady flow becomes something that no obstacle can easily stop. Your finances work the same way. The first few years feel almost meaningless. You are saving small amounts, investing small amounts, paying off small chunks of debt. You wonder if it is even worth it. Then one day, somewhere in year 5 or year 7, you look up and realize the river has carved a canyon. Your future has changed shape. You are no longer where you used to be. And the only thing that built it was the steady, patient flow you almost gave up on. Again and again. Protect what you build. Have basic insurance. Avoid risky decisions made in moments of fear or excitement. Stay learning. Read books written by people who actually built wealth slowly, not by people promising overnight miracles. Surround yourself with voices that talk about money, the way wise farmers talk about soil. Patient, honest, long-term. Here is the deepest mindset shift I want to leave you with in this chapter. Stop chasing money like a starving animal. Start managing it like a wise gardener. The chase is exhausting. The garden is generous. Money is not the goal. Money is a tool. The goal is the life you build with that tool, the freedom to take care of the people you love, the freedom to take a risk that might change everything, the freedom to say no to environments that drain your soul, the freedom to wake up in the morning without that quiet pit of dread in your stomach. That is what we are building here, not just riches. Real, quiet, soul-deep freedom. The old you was overwhelmed by money. The new you was calm with it. The old you avoided looking at the numbers. The new you greets them with steady eyes. The old you spent reactively. The new you spends intentionally, brick by brick, choice by choice, dollar by dollar. You are building the kind of foundation that lets you live the rest of your life from a place of quiet strength. Do not wait for someday. Start with what you have, where you are, today. Track 1 week. Save one small amount. Pay one small extra payment toward a debt. The fortress is not built in one motion. It is built in faithful, repeated, almost invisible decisions. And the version of you that is being built underneath those decisions is the most peaceful, powerful version of you that has ever existed. Chapter 11. From fire to forge, turning pain into power. Pain will visit you in this lifetime. There is no version of being human where this is not true. Someone you trusted will hurt you. Something you built will collapse. A door you thought was meant for you will close. A person you deeply loved will leave. In one way or another, a version of the future you meticulously imagined will simply not happen. And in those moments, the pain will feel like it is breaking something inside you that can never be repaired. I am not going to pretend otherwise. I would never lie to you about that. But I want to tell you something that almost nobody told me when I was hurting most. Pain does not have to destroy you. Pain, if you allow it, if you face it with courage, can become the very thing that builds the strongest, most resilient, most compassionate version of you that has ever existed. It can forge your liberty. Most people run from pain. They numb it with anything they can find. Endless scrolling, frantic relationships they do not even truly want, excessive food, alcohol, work, noise, anything to keep from sitting with the silence underneath. I understand it deeply. The instinct to run is one of the oldest in the human heart. But here is the quiet, undeniable truth. What you refuse to feel does not disappear. It just goes underground and quietly runs your life from there. Pain that is buried becomes pain that secretly decides for you. Pain that is faced becomes pain that profoundly teaches you. The choice is always yours, and it is one of the most important choices a person ever makes. Let me give you a metaphor that has helped me profoundly. Imagine a piece of raw clay, soft, shapeless, honestly kind of useless on its own. Now imagine that clay being placed inside a kiln, a fire so hot it would terrify the clay if it could feel. The fire does not feel like a friend. The fire feels like an ending. It feels like destruction. But the fire is the only thing that turns that soft, vulnerable clay into something that can hold water for the rest of its life. Without the fire, the clay can never become a true vessel. It will dry out, crumble, and return to dust. With the fire, it becomes something that can carry life, that can serve a purpose. Pain is your kiln. It does not feel like love when you are inside it. But what is forming inside you while you are in there is something the easy, comfortable version of life could never have made. It is forging your inner steel. The first step in transforming pain is to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" That question, though natural, keeps you small. It keeps you a passive victim of your own story. Try a different question, a more empowering one. What is this trying to teach me? Or even, what is this trying to make of me? Those questions hand the meaning, the narrative, back to you. Maybe the betrayal is teaching you to listen to the quiet internal warnings you used to ignore, strengthening your intuition. Maybe the failure is teaching you to build differently next time, with deeper roots, more meticulous planning, and a more resilient spirit. Maybe the loss is teaching you what truly matters, now that some of the noise and superficial attachments have been stripped away. Pain becomes purposeful the moment you start mining it for meaning. Until then, it just hurts, but meaning alone is not enough. Pain that just sits there, even understood, eventually turns into bitterness, resentment, or a quiet resignation. The next move is action. Take what hurt you and use it as fuel. If someone betrayed your trust, let that pain build stronger boundaries and a deeper, more unshakable self-respect than you have ever had. If you failed at something, let that pain make you sharper, wiser, more focused than the version of you who walked into the failure. If you lost someone or something precious, honor what you lost by living more fully, more honestly, more bravely than you did before. Pain wasted is just suffering. Pain used is profound alchemy. There will be days, as you walk through hard seasons, when the weight feels unbearable. On those days, do not look at the whole, daunting journey. Just look at the next single step. Just get up. Just drink the glass of water. Just take a slow walk around the block. Just text the friend who actually shows up. Just keep breathing through the hour. Survival on days like these is sometimes the bravest, most powerful thing you can do, and it counts. It counts so much. Days like that, stitched together, eventually become a season. And that season, looked back on later, will be one of the most important, defining chapters in your story of rebirth. There is another kind of medicine for pain that almost nobody talks about. Someone else who is still inside the storm you have walked through. When you take what hurt you and use it to lighten someone else's load, your pain transforms into something almost holy. It stops being merely a wound and starts being a bridge. Some of the most beautiful, deeply impactful humans I have ever met carry the deepest scars. They are not defined by what happened to them. They are defined by what they decided to do with it. They became kind because they knew intimately what unkindness feels like. They became gentle because they remember what it is like to be broken. They became strong because they absolutely had to be. And now their strength, their wisdom, their empathy is profoundly contagious. You can become this kind of person. In fact, the very thing that hurt you might be what eventually allows you to save someone else. Do not waste your pain. Let it become a guiding light, a beacon of liberty for others. The old you ran from hard feelings. The new you stands inside them, with steady, unblinking eyes. The old you asked, "Why me?" The new you asks, "What now? What can I build from this?" That single shift will carry you further than any fleeting motivation ever could. The fire that is burning you today is forging the version of you that the easy, comfortable life never could have made. Chapter 12. Master the art of patience and long-term thinking. We live in a world that has utterly lost its patience. Everything around you whispers that things should happen quickly, that progress should be immediately visible, that if you are not winning loudly by next month, something must be inherently wrong with you. But almost nothing real, nothing meaningful, nothing truly lasting is built fast. The most valuable things in life, deep love, real strength, true skill, profound wisdom, and lasting peace, all share one quiet, non-negotiable ingredient: time. And the unwavering willingness to keep showing up, while time does its slow, sacred, invisible work in the background. Most people do not quit because their dream was impossible. They quit because they could not tolerate the agonizing part, where progress is invisible. The seed has been planted, but the surface looks empty for weeks. The roots are spreading deep underground, but no one can see them. And during that quiet, challenging stretch, the impatient mind starts to scream, "Nothing's happening. This is not working. Try something else." And so, they dig up the seed right before it was about to break through the soil. They start over. They dig that one up too. Their lives become a graveyard of seeds that were never given enough time and nurturing to grow into anything meaningful. Do not let that be your story. Slow down with me here. Picture this: a small candle lit in a room that has been utterly dark for years. At first, it seems like nothing has changed. The room is still mostly dark. The single flickering flame seems small, almost embarrassed by its solitary presence. If you keep that candle burning, hour after hour, day after day, something profound begins to happen. Or start to feel warmer, your eyes adjust. You begin to see things you could not see before. Other small lights, attracted to your steady flame, start joining you. And slowly, almost without you noticing, the room that was once dark for years becomes a place of warmth, clarity, and connection. The light did not arrive in a sudden flash. It arrived through patient, faithful steadiness. Your life is exactly the same. Keep your small candle burning. Do not blow it out because the room has not changed yet. The room is changing. You just cannot see it yet. Another crucial part of patience is this: stop comparing your timeline to anyone else's. I know how often you scroll past someone living what looks exactly like your dream, and you feel the quiet ache in your chest. I have felt it too. It is one of the most universal human experiences in this strange, new, hyperconnected world. But please remember, you are seeing a harvest of someone else's unseen years. You do not see the lonely mornings, the quiet rejections, the persistent doubts, the profound sacrifices, the seasons when nothing was working for them either. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to their perfectly curated highlight reel. That is not a fair fight, and it never was. Your only real timeline is your own. Run your race. Honor your pace. The fast lane is not always the right lane for building true liberty. There is something called long-term thinking, and it might be one of the rarest, most powerful skills you can ever build. It is the profound ability to make decisions today based on the person you want to be in 10 years, not solely on the fleeting feeling you have in this present moment. The mind, left alone, will always vote for the comfortable thing right now. The long-term self, if you let it speak, will vote for the meaningful thing in the long run. The most peaceful, successful people I have ever known are the ones who quietly let their long-term self make most of the important decisions. They went to the gym when they did not feel like it, because they were voting for the strong, vital body they want at 50. They invested when they did not feel like it, because they were voting for the financial freedom they want at 60. They had the hard, honest conversations because they were voting for the authentic, deep relationships they want for life. Time is going to pass either way. The only question is whether you want to look back in 5 years and see drift, or whether you want to look back and see a quiet, intentional path you walked on purpose, even when no one was clapping. The old you wanted everything fast, instant gratification, quick fixes. The new you trusts the slow, deliberate rhythm of real things. The old you compared. The new you focuses deeply on your own path. The old you panicked when progress was invisible. The new you keeps the candle lit, even in the deepest dark, knowing that the room is changing whether you can see it yet or not. This is the essence of building a life of true, enduring liberty. Chapter 13. The Unseen Grind. building a relentless work ethic. If you take nothing else from this chapter, please take this. The world is not divided into talented people and untalented people. The world is divided into people who keep showing up and people who stop. That is it. That is the entire profound secret. The ones who truly win in any field, in any craft, in any life worth living, are not the ones who were born with magical, innate gifts. They are the ones who were willing to keep walking when the room got dark, when the cheering stopped, and when the work stopped feeling exciting. They built a relentless, almost stubborn relationship with the simple, powerful act of showing up. And that single trait, more than any raw talent, eventually carved them into something extraordinary. A relentless work ethic does not mean working until you collapse. Please hear that clearly, because the world is full of people burning themselves out and mistakenly calling it discipline. That is not what we are building here. We are building something deeper, something more sustainable, the unwavering willingness to keep showing up for the things that matter with focus and care, long after the initial excitement has faded. Anyone can show up when motivation is high. Almost no one can show up when motivation is gone. That crucial gap is where lives are profoundly built or tragically lost. Discipline is doing what you said you would do when no one is watching. When your bed is warm and inviting, when distraction is screaming for your attention, when you are tired, when nothing inside you truly wants to. It is waking up to the alarm and consciously choosing your goals over your temporary comfort, one quiet morning at a time. It is sitting back down at the desk after the third interruption. It is closing the app and opening the work. It is finishing the rep, finishing the page, finishing the conversation, finishing the day with unwavering integrity. Discipline is the essential bridge between the person you say you want to be and the person you actually become. And like any bridge, it has to be walked, step by laborious step in real life, not just imagined. Build a few non-negotiables in your week. Not many, just a few core actions that no matter what happens, you will do. The writer writes, the athlete trains, the builder builds, the healer heals, the student studies. Pick a few and protect them like sacred ground, like the very foundation of your liberty. Other things in your week can flex, can shift, can adjust, but these non-negotiables stay. They become the unyielding spine of your life, and over time, that spine carries weight that the casual, reactive version of you could never possibly carry. Here is the part that nobody warns you about. Resilience is what truly gets you there. There will be setbacks. There will be rejections. There will be unexpected hits that knock wind out of you and make you wonder if any of this is even worth it. The people who keep going are not the ones who never get knocked down. They are the ones who got back up more time than the world expected them to. Make peace with the fact that this path, this journey of rebuilding, is going to include hard days, difficult seasons. You are not failing when hard days come. You are simply on the path. Everyone who built anything beautiful and lasting walked through the same kind of hard days. The profound difference is they kept walking. The old you let feelings decide your path. The new you lets clear, conscious decisions decide. The old you waited for the perfect moment. The new you knows the moment becomes perfect when you decide to begin, when you decide to act, when you decide to assert your inner liberty. Chapter 14. Deep roots, tall branches, staying grounded. As you rise, success changes people, and not always for the better. When you have been working hard to destroy the old you and rebuild from zero, there comes a moment when things start to profoundly click. Your efforts begin to pay off. Opportunities open up. People start noticing your progress. The very life you used to dream about starts taking real, tangible shape around you. This is incredibly exciting, a true testament to your grit, but it is also subtly dangerous, because the higher you rise, the easier it is to forget who you are and where you truly came from. That is why staying grounded is so crucially important. Think about a mighty tree. The taller it grows, the deeper and wider its roots must extend into the earth. If it grows tall without strong, commensurate roots, a single unexpected storm can easily knock it down. Your life works the same way. Your achievements are the branches and leaves. Everyone can see the visible manifestations of your labor. But your roots, your values or principles, your humility, your daily disciplines, your real relationships, your unshakable inner truth, those are what keep you standing firm when challenges inevitably come. The truth is, success can be just as challenging to handle as failure. Failure often humbles you. It reminds you that you have more work to do, more lessons to learn. Success, on the other hand, can trick you into believing you have made it, that you do not need to push as hard anymore, that you are somehow above the very basics that got you here in the first place. Many people subtly lose themselves at this stage. They start neglecting the habits and disciplines that meticulously built their success. They let praise go to their heads and slowly, without even realizing it, they become the very person they swore they would never be: complacent, arrogant, disconnected. To stay truly grounded, you must constantly remind yourself of why you started this journey of rebuilding your life with such ferocity. Remember the version of you who was desperate to change, who was hungry for a better life, who was willing to do whatever it took to rise and claim their personal liberty. That person is still inside you. Never lose touch with them. Their hunger, their vulnerability, their initial clarity, these are precious anchors. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to stay connected to your roots. Every single day, take a moment to genuinely appreciate where you are and how far you have come. Gratitude keeps your heart humble and your perspective clear. It reminds you that even your abilities are a gift to be stewarded, not merely a possession to be flaunted. Another key is to profoundly separate your worth from your achievements. You're not your job title, your bank account, or your list of accomplishments. Those things are external, temporary. They can be built, and they can be taken away. What truly matters is who you are when everything external is stripped away: your character, your integrity, your kindness, your unwavering spirit. If you build your identity solely on external success, you will always feel unstable, constantly chasing the next thing to prove yourself. But when you root yourself in who you are, your core identity, you remain steady, no matter what happens around you. Be intentional about the people you surround yourself with. As you rise, new people will inevitably enter your life. Some will genuinely support you, lifting you higher, while others will be drawn to your success for selfish reasons, like moths to a flame. It is easy to get caught up in the attention and forget who truly has your back. Keep a small, tight circle of people who knew you before the rise, who loved you when you were broke and unsure and a little lost, who care about you as a person, not just as a symbol of success. These are the voices that will keep you accountable, tell you the unvarnished truth when the noise gets loud, and celebrate your humanity more than your accolades. Keep them close. Staying grounded also means continuing to grow. The moment you decide you have arrived, you effectively stop becoming. There is no ultimate arrival. There are only deeper levels of becoming, of evolving. Every season of your life will ask something new of you. Stay curious, stay teachable, stay willing to look honestly at where you still need to grow, where you still need to rebuild. The most powerful people I have ever known carried themselves like quiet students of life, not like graduates of it. You will also need to protect yourself from ego. Ego whispers insidious lies like, "You are better than them," or "You do not need to listen anymore," or "You deserve to take it easy now." Ego is the silent enemy of sustained progress, of true liberty. The best antidote is profound service. Use your success to lift others up. Mentor someone who is just starting out. Share your hard-won lessons, not for praise, but for genuine contribution. When you focus on giving instead of just receiving, your heart stays aligned with what truly matters, and your roots grow even deeper. Finally, remember that life has seasons. There will be highs and lows, glorious wins and painful losses. Do not get too attached to either. Celebrate your victories with joy, but do not let them define your entire self-worth. Endure your struggles with resilience, but do not let them destroy your spirit. Stay steady, like that tree with deep roots, no matter how strong the winds blow. The old you may have been fragile, easily swayed by opinions, by circumstances, by fleeting highs. The new you must be profoundly different. You worked too hard to rebuild your life from zero, to let success pull you off track. Stay grounded as you rise, and you will not just achieve great things. You will maintain the strength, the clarity, and the humility needed to handle them well, to truly live in liberty. Because the ultimate goal is not just to rise. It is to rise in such a way that you never, ever lose yourself along the way. That is true success. That is lasting greatness. Chapter 15. The Unfinished Symphony. Never stop rebuilding. Here is the final truth I have to share with you, and I want to share it with love, because some part of you needs to hear it before we close this book. You are never going to be done. There is no final, perfect version of you waiting at the end of this journey. There is no day where you wake up and say, "Okay, I am finished. I have fully arrived." Real life, a life of true liberty and continuous growth, does not work that way. And honestly, thank God it does not, because a finished life would be a closed life. And you, my friend, are far too alive for that. Rebuilding is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong relationship, a sacred commitment you keep returning to again and again for the rest of your life. Some seasons you will be doing big, dramatic, transformative work. Other seasons you will be doing quiet maintenance, subtle refinements, deep reflection. Both are equally sacred. The strongest house in the world still needs care every year, or the small cracks slowly take over. Your life is the same. The most powerful version of you still needs daily, weekly, yearly tending. Do not be discouraged by that. Be profoundly relieved by that. It means you will never run out of meaningful work to do on yourself, and for the world around you. It means the adventure of becoming never truly ends. The biggest danger after you have rebuilt, after you have tasted genuine success, real peace, and undeniable progress, is comfort. Once you start to feel settled, the temptation will subtly arise to coast, to stop being so disciplined, to stop checking in with yourself, to slowly let the old patterns sneak back in through the side door. Comfort, when it goes unwatched, is one of the quietest killers of growth. It is the insidious thief of liberty. The very thing you work so hard for can become the thing that stops you from reaching your true, magnificent potential. The way to avoid this trap is to always have a new vision. The moment you achieve one goal, set another, not because what you have now is not enough. Celebrate it fully, but because growth is the natural state of every living thing. The moment a tree stops growing, it begins dying. You are no different. So keep asking yourself, what is next? How can I grow from here? New frontiers of self-mastery and contribution can I explore? Rebuilding also means regularly checking in with yourself. Schedule moments to pause and reflect, quarterly, yearly, whenever the seasons turn, or when you simply feel a quiet pull to reassess. Sit down and ask, am I still becoming the person I want to be? Are my habits still aligned with my deepest values? Are the people in my life still truly nourishing me? Is there a small course correction I need to make, a subtle adjustment to my trajectory? Most of life's greatest journeys are navigated not by grand, sudden shifts, but by small, consistent course corrections. A few degrees adjusted today saves you from being miles off track in 5 years. There may be seasons where it feels, for a moment, like you are starting over completely. A profound relationship ends. A cherished career path closes. A version of your identity, long held, ends. In those moments, it is easy to feel like all your hard-won progress was wasted, but it was not. Every skill you have painstakingly built, every lesson you have learned, every ounce of inner strength you have developed, it all comes with you. Even if you start again from what looks like zero, you are starting as a completely different person than you were before. That is the profound beauty of growth. You may begin again, but you never truly go back to who you were. The old you used to fear collapse. The old you feared discomfort, feared the unknown, feared starting over. The new you embraces those things as integral parts of the journey. You understand now that rebuilding is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It means you are alive, you are growing, and you're refusing to settle for anything less than your fullest potential and your truest liberty. So, as you move forward, remember this. There is no final destination. There is no moment where you get to stop. Life will always bring new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to evolve. Embrace it. Stay hungry. Keep tearing down what no longer serves you and building up what makes you stronger, wiser, freer. Because the moment you stop rebuilding is the moment you start falling back into the old patterns you fought so hard to escape, and you have come too far to ever go back. Never stop rebuilding. Never stop growing. That is how you create a life that is not only successful, but deeply fulfilling, a life you can be proud of every single day, a testament to your unyielding spirit. Conclusion, your new beginning. We have walked a long and transformative road together, you and I. And as this book draws to its quiet close, I want to speak to you, not just as a writer, but as a friend who has been holding your hand, metaphorically, through every challenging page, every moment of raw honesty. I am profoundly proud of you, not because you are finished, you are not, and you never will be, not because you have transformed everything yet, you have not. I am proud of you because you stayed. You kept reading, you kept opening, you kept being willing to look at the uncomfortable truths, to feel the pain, to do the hard work. And in a world overflowing with endless distractions, that act alone, the act of staying with the deeper work, the sacred work of self-rebuilding, is rarer and more beautiful than you know. But please hear this final crucial truth. Reading is not change. Listening is not change. Feeling moved is not change. Change happens in the quiet, unglamorous moment after you close this book. When life calls you back to your ordinary day, to your commitments, to your responsibilities, and you have to decide whether the profound truths we have warped through together stay alive and active in you, or quietly fade back into the noise. I cannot make that choice for you. No one can. The future you have been imagining, the life of true liberty, purpose, and fulfillment, sits on the other side of one decision, a decision, repeated daily, to live this. Not just to know it, but to embody it, to make it your very identity. You will not become the new version of yourself overnight. You will become it through 1,000 quiet choices most people will never see. The morning you wake up and choose your routine over your comfort. The evening you close the app and open the book. The conversation where you finally tell the truth instead of the polite, watered-down version. The boundary you finally hold without apologizing. The promise to yourself you keep on a tired Tuesday when no one is clapping. Those of moments. That is where the new you is being built. Not in a dramatic single transformation, but in sacred, ordinary days, lived with intention, repeated with patience, sustained with an unwavering love for your future self. Destroying the old you is not an act of hate. It is the purest act of love. You are not throwing away a person. You are honoring everything that version of you carried, every lesson it learned, every struggle it endured, and lovingly setting it down so that something new, something truer, something more aligned with your highest potential can gloriously rise. The old you got you here. Thank that version of yourself. Bow to that version, and then, with gentleness and resolve, let it rest. Its work is done. The new you is taking the next steps from here. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is a story we tell ourselves to delay our own becoming. The perfect moment is now, right now, the moment after you read this last line. The next breath you take, the next choice you make, that is where it begins, not in some far-off ideal day when all the conditions are perfectly aligned. Here, messy, beautiful, ordinary now of your real life. You have everything you need inside you to build the life you have been quietly dreaming about. You always did. This book did not give it to you. It only reminded you. So take slow, deep breath, my friend. Stand a little taller. Lift your eyes. The old chapter is closing. The blank page is yours. And the most important sentence has not been written yet. You are the one holding the pen. Destroy the old you, rebuild from zero, and never, ever stop becoming the person you were always meant to be. Your new life starts now.